It was a chilly morning when the doors of that flight to Colorado Springs slid shut. The cabin was alive with the usual hum of conversation, laughter, and the rustling of bags. Among the passengers was an elderly man, his face lined with stories of the years. You could tell he was headed somewhere special. He was about to meet his great-grandson for the first time. Can you imagine that? The excitement, the nerves, and all that anticipation wrapped up in one moment. But little did he know the journey that lay ahead would shake him and quite a few others to their core. As he settled into his assigned seat, you could see him smile, just thinking about that baby boy, the family connection forged over decades. And then came the flight attendant, young Sharp, but with a force that didn't quite match her tender years. She approached him with that corporate smile plastered on her face, but there was something cold behind it. "Sir, I need to ask you to move," she said, no explanation given. Just like that, a flip of the script, a rush of disorientation. You could see the old man's shoulders tense up slightly. It was a familiar feeling washed over him, like a wave of memories growing up, when your skin color could decide your fate. Out of sight, out of mind, that's how it always was. But here he was trying to find joy, only to be swept back into something ugly, a hurt he hoped to have left behind. Two seats over, a middle-aged man noticed the commotion. He raised an eyebrow, leaned forward and said, "Excuse me, why is he moving?" The exchange had a strange intimacy, a connection amidst strangers, a spark igniting a flicker of awareness. But then, oh, the audacity, an entitled young man slid into the very seat the old man had occupied, smirking like victory was his birthright. "What's the matter?" "Did he take your seat?" he scoffed, shoving his hands into his designer jacket. Oh, my heart sank. This wasn't just rude, it was emblematic of something much deeper. But as negative energy swirled around the cabin, the unexpected happened. The pilot stepped out of the cockpit. This was not some ordinary occurrence, and everyone could feel the shift in focus. He walked with purpose straight toward the old man. "Sir," he said, stopping before him and giving an unexpected salute. The room fell silent, a palpable tension shifting. "Thank you for your service in Vietnam," he continued, voice steady, an air of authority surrounding him. "You have every right to sit wherever you please." And that moment, that was the turning point. A wave of applause surged from the other passengers, sharp and vibrant, echoing to the back of the plane. Laughter erupted, and the tense energy unraveled. The old man, a glimmer of gratitude in his eyes, took a moment as the captain offered to escort him back to his original seat. It was almost surreal watching him straighten his back, walking with dignity, restored as people encouraged him, bustling forward to lend their support. But it didn't end there. With each step they passed the young man who had dared to sit in what was not rightly his. The captain, with a fiery resolve, came to a halt beside him. "Sorry, buddy, but I think it's time you moved to the back," he said, strong yet composed. The young man opened his mouth to protest but stopped short. An uncomfortable silence settled around him, and with a huff he complied, shoulders hunched. When the old man finally returned to his seat, the captain chose to sit next to him. It wasn't some trivial act. He was framing a moment where connection could highlight more than the conflict. They shared a few introductory laughs, the captain serving refreshments and listening to the stories that spilled forth from the old man's heart. In that space where camaraderie blossomed, the passengers around them began talking, sharing their own stories, and the atmosphere turned warm, almost familial. As the flight went on, he shared not just his memories, but reflections on how things had changed and the truths that still whispered in corners of society. The seat change. It turned out the young flight attendant had tossed him aside based on her own biases, obliviously enforcing some narrow-minded views, and those ripples echoed long after. But that's the thing about experiences, they can sow seeds. The question was always about what would sprout afterward. At one point, the old man reached into his bag and pulled out a small, stuffed animal, a little lion with soft fur. This was what he'd brought for his great-grandson. "This is not just a toy," he said, eyes shimmering with warmth and wisdom. "It's a reminder that even in tough times, we have to stand firm. We have to be a voice for change." Listening to the old man, the captain nodded, knowing there was an undeniable truth there. After everything, it wasn't just about one flight. It was about recognizing each other's humanity, about acknowledging that while we sometimes fall short, we can also rise to meet those challenges. As the plane touched down, cheers erupted, and even amid the bustle of passengers, the old man knew something significant had been woven through their connections. Truth be told, he didn't want the spotlight. He just wanted people to open their eyes to see what's right and stand against what's wrong. And here's where I want to hear from you. How did it feel? Seeing that moment, a community rising together, overcoming that initial hurt to create something beautiful. Have you been in a situation where you've witnessed injustice, or maybe you've witnessed someone standing up for what's right? That dialogue is essential. It's what we need. So go ahead and leave a comment below. Let's talk about respect, dignity, and the importance of standing up against prejudice, because together we can uplift each other in ways that truly matter.